Hello everybody, welcome to the annual video where I rank all the movies I've seen in the past year. 2020 has been a little different, I don't need to tell you that, but a lot of big blockbusters haven't come out this year, so a lot of the movies I've seen have been smaller, and so that makes this list a little unique from years previous. So now obviously this is just my own personal opinion, it doesn't necessarily reflect the opinions of anyone else at Casual Experts or at comic book fans. And if you disagree with this, comment down below with what you think of these movies, and let's get started. Number 13, the Borat subsequent movie film. In a year that is divisive and political, the last thing I want in a movie is one that's divisive and political. But that's exactly what this movie is. I saw this and the predecessor back to back, and I feel that the original is better in essentially every way. The first one made fun of everyone, and it was fun because it felt like we were all in on the joke, but in this movie, the jokes are far too one-sided. Number 12, Freaky. It's not that this movie is necessarily bad, it's just that it's not suited to my specific tastes. My biggest problem is that it's just too lighthearted for a slasher movie. The threats don't seem real to me, and the story is executed poorly. However, I will say that the cast does a very good job with what they are given. 10. The Babysitter Killer Queen. Now, I am the first to run to the defense of the original Babysitter movie, so I was excited to give this sequel a fair shot. While the movie is visually stunning, in every other sense it falls flat. Worst of all is the movie's story. Not just content on ruining itself, it adds background information that manages to make the first movie worse. All in all, a very disappointing sequel. Number 9, Fantasy Island. Now this movie is a cheap, low-budget horror movie, and not only do I have a high tolerance for those, in most cases I have a soft spot for them as well. For the most part, it's a very entertaining B horror movie. The worst part is they tacked on a twist ending that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Also, apparently this is a remake, and fans of the original are not too happy with the way that this movie turned out, although I don't know anything about that. Number 8, Wonder Woman 1984. I think that the original Wonder Woman is one of the best superhero movies of the past decade, so I had high hopes for this one. Ultimately, I thought a majority of the second act was boring, but it does get better in the end. The cast is great, no surprises there. Number 7, The New Mutants. As a cheap horror movie a la Fantasy Island, I think this movie works, but as a superhero movie, I think it falls flat on its face. I think at the end of the day, this is just a weird horror movie with vague references to the X-Men. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a good time to be had as long as you know what you're getting yourself into. Number 6, An American Pickle. Let me first say that I am not a huge fan of Seth Rogen's acting, generally speaking, but this movie proved me wrong and I couldn't be happier. At the end of the day, American Pickle is a small-scale, heartwarming movie about family. It's not too funny, however, so if you were expecting to laugh, go watch something like Superbad. Number 5, Fat Man. This movie took me by surprise. I was not expecting it to be what it was, nor was I expecting it to be as good as it was. The trailer would have you believe that it was a crazy action movie. It is not. It is a very grounded movie about what it's like to be old. As crazy as that sounds, it absolutely works, and Mel Gibson is one of the best live-action Santa Clauses I have ever seen. Number 4, Bad Boys for Life. Now, I'm not too familiar with this franchise, but I hear that some of the earlier movies were pretty bad. Either way, this movie's great. A throwback to 80s action comedies like Lethal Weapon and Beverly Hills Cop. The acting is great, the action is great, most of the jokes are pretty good, and all in all, it's a pretty enjoyable experience. Number 3, The Birds of Prey. Is The Birds of Prey the best superhero movie of the year? Yeah. Is that surprising? Yeah, it kind of is. Let me start out by saying it's not a perfect movie, but it is a lot of fun. There are a couple of action scenes that are great, but the acting is what really makes this movie for me. My favorite part is Mary Elizabeth Winstead as the Huntress, in case you're wondering, and I'm a little bit confused by Ewan McGregor's performance as Black Mask. I'm not sure if he's supposed to be funny or scary, but all in all, it was an enjoyable movie. Number 2, Free Burma Rangers. Let me be the first to say that generally I'm not a huge fan of religious movies. Furthermore, I'm not a huge fan of documentaries. So then why is this movie, a religious documentary, so high on my list? Well, first of all, this movie is unlike any other documentary I've seen in that all the footage was recorded while the missionaries were on the field. They literally had just a guy following them with a camera, and none of the footage is altered or tampered in any way. It's just presented the way that it was recorded. Furthermore, I would say that it isn't really a movie about religion per se. I would say it's more about bringing people together and uniting them despite of their differences. So that's my list. Tell me what you think about it in the comments below. Tell me if I missed any movies this year that were really good. And you can check the links in the description for our Facebook group, Casual Experts, our Instagram page, Comic Book Fans, and if you'd like to support the channel, our Patreon link is there as well. If you want to reach us directly, you can do so on Twitter. The links for all of those are going to be in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a very happy new year.